The controversies surrounding Disney's Snow White remake show that we are still in the thick of the culture wars. Oh, have we been following the Snow White?
Actually, the first I'm hearing of this.
Buckle up, the drama in Tinseltown is getting wild. Just when everyone thought Hollywood scandals had cooled down, boom, a fresh storm hits. Word on the street is that Disney's coming for its money, allegedly demanding a jaw-dropping refund from the stars of its troubled Snow White remake, Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot. These two were supposed to be the shining faces of a fairy tale comeback, but instead, the box office numbers flopped hard. Now insiders are whispering that Disney's pointing fingers straight at the actresses who once looked like a sure thing. Can you believe that the very studio that hyped them up is now trying to cash back in on the deal? So, what's really going down behind the scenes? Are these claims legit or just another spicy rumor meant to stir the pot? In this deep dive, we'll break it all down, from behind-the-scenes drama to who's being blamed for what. The whispers won't stop. Some even say Disney's blaming the stars directly for the film's crashing controversies. Words flying around that Disney, already stressed over blown budgets and lukewarm buzz, wants its stars to help cover the mess. Insiders are saying the studio is looking right at Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot to eat part of those massive cost overruns and lost profits. No legal papers have popped up yet, but folks close to the situation swear the tension is very real, and it's gotten so loud, it's started to overshadow the movie itself. Apparently, this clash didn't just start overnight. Sources claim the drama goes way back, even before the first scene was shot. From the jump, once Rachel Zegler snagged the role of Snow White, Disney threw serious money into making her the face of their next big thing. They were banking on her charm to lock in younger viewers, putting her on talk shows, hyping her up all over social media, showing off her energy on set. At first, it looked like a genius move to reboot the magic for Gen Z. But as filming dragged on, the budget went off the rails, and that's when things started getting messy. Insiders are spilling that the chaos behind the scenes was off the charts. Frequent reshoots, constant changes to costumes and set designs, and a dragged-out filming schedule sent the costs soaring. Scenes were shot and reshot over and over thanks to creative clashes, messy planning, and money management that was all over the place. The crew was chasing a jaw-dropping spectacle, but ended up drowning in bills. Word is the higher-ups got so wrapped up in trying to make a visual masterpiece, they totally lost grip on how much they were actually spending. And to make things worse, those early test screenings, yikes. They did not go over well. People who saw the rough cut said the movie was emotionally flat. And the big concern? The on-screen chemistry between Rachel's Snow White and Gal's Evil Queen came off as awkward and stiff. Despite all the glitter and glam poured into production, viewers said the story just didn't hit the heart like the original did. Critics chimed in too. Some praised the visuals, sure, but called it all style with no soul. Behind the fairy tale fantasy, there was real-life tension brewing between the two leads. Gal Gadot, already a global icon thanks to her role as Wonder Woman, showed up with a spotless rep. She's known for staying cool on set and avoiding drama. Meanwhile, Rachel Zegler came in hot off her West Side Story success, with her own hype and a growing fan base. At first, Hollywood was buzzing. People expected this duo to be pure magic, a blockbuster veteran and a rising star teaming up to breathe new life into one of Disney's oldest legends. It sounded like a recipe for gold. But off camera, things were icy. Insiders say the vibe between them was off from the jump. Rachel's social media posts raised eyebrows. She called parts of the original Snow White outdated, which didn't sit right with longtime Disney fans. That bold commentary sparked backlash, especially from folks who wanted the classic left untouched. At the same time, Gal made occasional remarks about global issues in interviews, and whispers say Rachel started worrying that it could mess with the movie's broader market appeal. Still, even with drama bubbling and costs going through the roof, Disney kept throwing money at the project, banking on Gal's fame and Rachel's fresh edge to save the day. But that magic spark the studio was chasing, it never showed up. Test screenings kept revealing the same issue. The key moments between Snow White and the Evil Queen just didn't hit. Viewers called the scenes flat, so rewrites kicked in fast, triggering even more reshoots, and pulling Rachel and Gal back onto set way more than expected. And that's when things got heated. Behind closed doors, Leaks say Gal was getting annoyed. She felt like Rachel was sticking her nose too deep into script changes and visual decisions. On the flip side, Rachel reportedly felt Gal wasn't taking her ideas seriously at all. Crew members said filming kept getting interrupted, way more than usual. And the vibe on set was tense. Both of their teams had to step in, negotiating over everything, from how scenes were shot to who said what. Every delay just racked up more costs, and Disney's execs were starting to panic about the money slipping through their fingers. When the mess finally moved to post-production, editors were hustling to patch things up, adding new scenes and reshuffling cuts to fix the sluggish story. But that meant calling the stars back in again. And by that point, the tension between them was explosive. The tension got so real, even the editors couldn't fully mask it. That icy vibe between Rachel and Gal was crystal clear in their scenes. Whispers started spreading that a big part of the drama came from clashing ideas over Gal's evil queen. Should she be darker and scarier or more layered and relatable? That back and forth only made things worse. Around that same time, Rachel's interviews started grabbing serious heat. She kept pointing out how outdated she thought parts of the original 1937 Snow White were, and fans who grew up loving the classic weren't having it. To them, it felt like she was throwing shade at a beloved piece of film history. Some even questioned if she really got the magic of the original story at all. Meanwhile, Gal tried to keep things focused on the movie's big scale and wild visuals, but the online noise just kept growing. And it wasn't pretty. Behind closed doors, the blame game between the two actresses was bubbling over. And then came the breaking point. During a major promo photo shoot, the kind meant for streaming ads and posters, things blew up again. Rachel pushed for retakes to perfect the shots, but Gal was on a tight schedule and started losing patience. The tension hit a boiling point, and that's when the whispers turned into straight-up blame. People on the sidelines say this was the moment it all spiraled out of control. Both stars allegedly started pointing fingers, claiming the other was the reason for the tidal wave of bad press that just wouldn't stop. Not long after, the buzz got even crazier. Word spread that Disney was so fed up with the chaos, so shaken by the exploding costs and non-stop negativity, that they were actually thinking about asking Rachel and Gal to cough up part of the money back. Yep, a refund from the stars they once poured all their faith and cash into. While no one's dropping receipts, the rumor is that Disney thinks their off-screen beef and messy public image wrecked the film's chances, and that they should be financially responsible for some of the flop. Some seasoned Hollywood folks are calling that idea wild. They say it's super rare for a studio to try collecting losses from its own talent, especially once the movie's already deep into promotion. Others believe Disney could be playing hardball, using the threat to shut down more drama before it hits the press again. And let's be real, Gal's clean rep doesn't exactly scream troublemaker, which has some folks doubting she'd owe anything at all. Rachel's fans are pushing back hard. They say she's being unfairly blamed just for keeping it real about a storyline that's clearly old school. But the idea that Disney might go after both of its leading ladies to recover part of that monster-sized budget, that sent shockwaves through the industry. Insiders say Disney's scrambling behind the scenes, desperate to clean up its image while the film teeters on the edge of full-blown box office disaster. What was supposed to be a fresh, modern twist on a beloved fairy tale has now turned into a PR nightmare, and a very expensive one at that. Privately, some execs are already admitting the obvious. This might not even make it in theaters. Streaming could be the last chance to break even, maybe with some help from international deals and merch sales, but every new rumor just makes the cleanup job harder. What's making things worse? The heart of the mess is the film's two biggest names. Every time a quote surfaces or a social media post drops, there's a risk of reigniting the drama. Rachel, usually outspoken online, has gone nearly silent, only putting out careful, controlled statements lately. The tension's still bubbling, and everyone's watching. Gal's keeping cool in public, dropping polished lines about creative differences, but the behind-the-scenes chatter won't quit. The biggest rumor still making waves? That Disney's dead serious about clawing back cash from the very stars who were supposed to lead its next massive hit. And to make things worse, early reviews have been brutal. Critics are saying the story's all over the place, trying to blend comedy, whimsy, and empowerment into something that just doesn't flow. What was hyped as a dazzling, feel-good fairy tale now looks more like an expensive mess. Sure, some folks are giving props to the visuals and a couple of side characters, but the overall vibe? Hollow. The grand sets and big musical numbers don't hide the fact that something's missing, mainly the fire between the two leads. Viewers are picking up on the real-life tension bleeding into the film. That spark between Snow White and the evil queen? Totally flat. The awkwardness is that obvious, and not even slick editing could save it. Now, fan groups online are going at it. Some back Rachel for speaking up and pushing for a modern twist, saying it's time Disney updated its old-school tales to fit today's world. But others aren't so forgiving. On the flip side, some fans are calling Rachel's comments about the original Snow White straight-up disrespectful, even childish. And while Gal still has a lot of respect for her past work, some are questioning whether her occasional political comments or chill attitude during promo season may have rubbed parts of the audience the wrong way. Now, just the rumor that Disney might ask for a refund has turned up the heat even more. Some folks are saying the studio's just throwing the stars under the bus to distract from its own behind-the-scenes missteps, but others believe the off-screen drama really did tank the film's chances of success. Behind the curtain, things are looking rough. Sources inside Disney are whispering that the final cost of the movie blew way past what anyone expected. Endless reshoots, pricey effects, and marketing that didn't land right have left the studio deep in the red, and execs are freaking out about only getting back a fraction of what they poured in. Critics are blaming leadership, saying if someone had taken control earlier, cut down the spending, and stepped in to manage the star tensions, this whole thing could have been avoided. Now. The idea of chasing money from Rachel and Gal looks like a last-ditch move to stop the bleeding. It hasn't been officially confirmed, but industry insiders say Disney might try to claim the stars broke parts of their contracts with their behavior or public statements, and that could be their excuse to go after the cash. Some believe Disney might not even want the refund, at least not right now. Instead, they think the studio's leaking the idea behind the scenes to pressure Rachel and Gal into calming the drama and cutting out the negative noise. But no matter the reason, the fact that a major studio could be beefing this openly with its top-billed stars over money shows just how messy this Snow White situation really is. And it's not like either actress is walking away clean. Gal, who's been a box office queen for years, is now facing heat for stirring up controversy with her unfiltered opinions. Meanwhile, Rachel, once hyped as Hollywood's fresh face, is catching flack for calling out a Disney classic and bumping heads with a fan-favorite icon. Both of their careers could take a serious hit if this movie bombs as hard as insiders are predicting. And while all eyes are on the feud, the people behind the scenes, the crew who spent endless hours crafting sets, designing costumes, and pouring magic into the visuals, are watching their hard work get buried under a pile of bad press. Many are frustrated, saying the audience seems more obsessed with the off-camera chaos and refund rumors than the actual film itself. Even if there are moments of brilliance, the public might miss them entirely, too distracted by the circus surrounding the production. But even with all the flashy promo, the storm cloud hanging over Snow White won't budge. Early box office signs are bleak. Even die-hard Disney fans seem hesitant, turned off by all the mess surrounding the film. What should have been a guaranteed hit is now looking like one of Disney's biggest stumbles in recent memory. Analysts are already bracing for bad numbers, calling it a potential flop that stings especially hard for a studio known for flipping its animated classics into gold. Meanwhile, that rumored refund demand, still the hottest topic in town. Some insiders say Disney might quietly back off if the movie pulls off a halfway decent performance. But if the cold reception sticks, others think the studio might double down, pushing the refund narrative harder to make an example out of this fiasco, sending a message that drama stirred by stars won't be tolerated no matter how famous they are. The strategy, though, is risky. Going after your own leads could seriously backfire, scaring off other A-listers and damaging long-term relationships in the industry. Still, the chaos behind Snow White is turning into a major case study in how quickly things can unravel. Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot's Snow White is quickly turning into the example of what happens when a mega-budget project collides headfirst with public drama. Inside Disney, execs are in full crisis mode, scrambling to limit the fallout while figuring out how to claw back whatever money they can. Their golden track record with live-action remakes could take a serious hit if this one completely tanks. Now, some folks behind the curtain are pushing for a major reset, calling out the way the studio manages its legacy films, the way stars are handled, and how public messaging is allowed to spiral out of control. Because at this point, it's not just about this one movie. It's about proving to investors and longtime fans that Disney still knows how to create magic, without it blowing up into a media circus. As the official premiere inches closer, one thing's clear. Rachel and Gal aren't exactly rushing to present a united front. They've been sticking to solo interviews, dodging the tough questions, and keeping their distance. Meanwhile, social media detectives are on the hunt, watching every post, every comment, looking for signs of peace or more drama. But hovering over it all is that lingering idea. Will Disney really try to get some of its money back from its own stars? This whole situation is a loud reminder of just how sour things have gotten. Not just between Rachel and Gal, but between them and the studio itself. Critics who've seen the final cut say it looks stunning, packed with rich visuals and big-budget musical numbers. But somehow, it still feels empty. Despite all the money thrown into choreography and revamped comedy bits, the connection between the two leads, it's just not there. Scenes that were meant to show fire, conflict, or moral tension between Snow White and the evil queen come off flat, stiff even, and many are wondering if that off-screen coldness seeped into their performances. Even if a few viewers find something to like, the non-stop swirl of drama might be too much for Disney to overcome. The reputation damage is real. So real that insiders are now talking about cutting the theatrical run short and pushing the film to streaming fast. It might make a little money overseas, but in the US, the vibe's grim. Now everyone's asking, can this flop find redemption online? Or is the drama too loud to ignore? And let's not forget, the refund rumors still haven't gone away. With that story floating around, the spotlight's no longer on the fairy tale. It's on the real-life fallout that's turned this release into something way more explosive than Disney ever expected. All of this drama paints a clear red flag for future Disney remakes. The game has changed. The days when behind-the-scenes clashes and political comments could be swept under the rug? Long gone. Audiences now track everything. Every leak, every shady rumor, every slip-up. And even a powerhouse like Disney isn't safe when the drama starts overshadowing the actual movie. With that rumored reimbursement demand still hanging in the air, some believe Disney's trying to set an example, a warning shot about accountability. But the real question is, will it work? Or is the studio just pouring more gas on an already blazing fire? Some insiders think that if the box office numbers totally collapse, this refund rumor could actually go legal, with contract fine print pulled apart for anything that looks like a breach of behavior. Others say Disney wouldn't dare sue two A-list stars, afraid that a courtroom battle could wreck what little goodwill they've got left with the public and with other talent. No matter how it plays out, the fact that things have reached this level is wild. This was supposed to be a crown jewel, a grand live-action Snow White to carry on Disney's remake legacy. With Rachel Zegler coming off a major musical directed by an Oscar winner and Gal Gadot loved worldwide for her iconic roles, everyone expected a joyful comeback for Disney's very first princess. But instead of hope, wonder, and unity, the heart of any Disney fairy tale, we got drama, headlines, and whispers about who might owe what. Now, as the dust refuses to settle, the film's legacy is in danger of being remembered not for its visuals or creativity, But as the moment a once unstoppable studio was rumored to be chasing down its own stars for a refund, even if the movie manages to scrape together some kind of financial bounce back, the stain on the brand might stick for a long time. Disney had dreams of audiences falling in love with Snow White all over again, but instead, execs are left trying to salvage the magic from a project buried under infighting, wasted millions, and underwhelming buzz. In the end, Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot have landed squarely in the middle of the storm, and it's not just a short-term mess. This controversy could follow them for years. Rachel's push to refresh a beloved classic has been drowned out by backlash and accusations that she disrespected the original fairy tale's legacy. Disney's legacy, built on magic and nostalgia, is now caught in the storm of nonstop rumors. Even Gal Gadot, known for lighting up the screen and winning over fans worldwide, isn't immune to the gossip whirlwind. Whether Disney will actually collect a refund from its stars is still up in the air. But one thing's for sure, everyone involved is walking away with some serious scars. The real heartbreak? This could have been something huge. When the project first got the green light, it had all the right pieces. A bold newcomer like Rachel Zegler paired with Gal's proven star power should have been a recipe for cinematic gold. Instead, it spiraled into a headline-heavy mess. A high-stakes cautionary tale packed with runaway budgets, clashing egos, and a flood of behind-the-scenes drama. Now the story isn't about a fairy tale reborn, it's about a blockbuster blown to pieces, and a studio that might be trying to get its money back from the very people it trusted to deliver the magic. At this point, it's anybody's guess how this chaotic Snow White saga will go down in the history books. Will it just be seen as another Hollywood misfire that crumbled under the pressure of sky-high expectations? Or will it mark the moment when Disney's legendary magic cracked and the fallout left a lasting dent on everyone involved? What's clear is this: the name Snow White doesn't just bring up images of enchanted forests and wicked queens anymore. Now it triggers thoughts of backstage blow-ups, ballooning budgets, tense interviews, and the wild rumor that Disney wants its money back from the stars it once backed with full confidence. The fairy tale has officially been hijacked by real-world drama. And the story that once brought generations together has been drowned out by a Hollywood storm of missteps, media madness, and a whole lot of finger-pointing. If you're just as stunned as we are by how deep this rabbit hole goes, make sure to share and subscribe for more breakdowns of the biggest stories shaking up the entertainment world. Thanks for watching, and trust us, you won't want to miss what we've got coming next. See you on the next one.